Hello.
Hello, it's me again. Is Kelvin here? Okay. Same thing. I would like you to on your webcam if you are comfortable. Okay, Kak. Can Kak? Just at the beginning only. Can you on your webcam? Thank you. Hello, Noel, Farah, and Kelvin. Hi, everyone. So for this course, there will be only four of us, right? So I think all of you already experienced like three of you, only three of you in the course, right? Have you? Okay, so this subject is BAIT 2203 ngam kan? Is it human computer interaction? Correct? Are you in the correct class? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So as usual, similar to this morning session. So for this course, I will also show you the course overview first. Okay. Same thing like this morning, and then we will look at the Google Classroom. We look at the Google Drive, and then we will go for our first lecture for this course. All right. So do you have class after this?
No.
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 Okay, no. Right. So this should be your last class for today, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Macam gamer or kamu jawab saya on sekejap-sekejap only. Okay, so I think we can start now. So you can off your video if you want. Thank you so much for showing me your face. I will share my screen for the course overview. Okay, thank you. So as usual, if you have question about the course, you can ask in the chat, okay, or you can just on your mind, right? So this is course overview. So you already know about me. So I will not talk about myself again. So this is my details. These are my details, my WhatsApp number, my email. Okay. So this is the course BAIT 2203, Human Computer Interaction. So the credit hours will be 3 hours. Okay. And then let's look at the course synopsis. So this course, it's designed to introduce the principle of concept of human computer interaction. In short, is HCI, and designing issues. Okay, we'll discuss on designing issues in human computer interfaces. Okay, interface. Um, Computer interface. And then this course will also provide you with the opportunity to sorry, learn techniques and methodology to develop good user interface for software-based system. So basically, this is the one that you will do for your assignment. Okay. Let's look at the CLO, course learning outcomes. So we have the first one is to use appropriate design and evaluation techniques. We will learn about pack analysis later in this course. So what are the techniques that is required in development of a usable interfaces in your system? And then to evaluate impact good and bad interfaces. How do you differentiate between good interface and bad interface on the usability of applications and the stakeholders that are using the application. And then we will also be examining how different disciplines, our surrounding, human factors, cognitive psychology, the workplace design, the engineering, the graphic design, etc. How does all this influence the design of an interactive systems? Okay, so let's think about how, for example, like um, gaming, right? I believe you all are gamers. So in your interface, gaming game interface, the buttons on, and then where you can get communicate with your friends through the game. So basically, the interface of it on how it how it function and how it helps you to play the game smoothly. Okay, so that's just an example. So we have more example uh, out there. All right, so that's the CLO of this course. So the course outline, there will be 8 chapters in total. So this one is according to the cost plan. Sorry, a cost structure. So we have these chapters, and okay, and then the references. So there's only one reference stated in the cost structure for this one. So I already get the ebook for you for this one. So I already put in the Google Classroom. It's also available in the Google Drive. Okay, so we'll be using this book by Wiley Production. Okay. Okay, next, weekly planning is the cost plan. So let me just show you the cost plan. This one you can access through intranet as well. So you should be able to see this in your intranet or in the Google Classroom, Google Drive as well. This one it might be a little bit different than the course outline that I showed you just now, but we will be following this course plan. Okay, we will be following the topics that we have in this course plan. So this week, chapter one, we'll cover chapter one today. So for tutorial and practical session, I will be briefing you about your assignment. Okay, briefing you about assignment, and then next week, then we will start to do tutorial one, and then you will do proposal during practical. So basically, during practical sessions for this course, you will be you will be focusing on preparing your assignment. Okay, so because there's only 3 of you here, so we will not be forming any group. This will be a one-man standing assignment task. So each one of you will be providing me with your own assignment report. Okay, so means there will be no grouping. This will be a one-man standing assignment report. Okay, I will explain more about assignment during our practical tomorrow. And then chapter 3, the 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you can see here, um, week 7, week 7 now. So week 7 here we have during lecture we will be having tests. Okay, tests. Um, so this one usually is midterm test. It will cover usually half of the lecture. So we have 8 chapters, right? So it should cover from chapter 1 until chapter 4. I will let you know near the time. Okay? And then week 9, week 10, 11, 12. So if you notice, can the course outline just now that I give in the PowerPoint is only the 8 chapter, right? Also, because that one, maybe the previous one, I refer that to the course structure. So this one, we will follow this one from your course plan. So we will have 10 chapters. Okay? You will also have assignment presentation here in week 11. Maybe because only 3 of you, because in KL they have a lot of students, so they don't have enough time to present during practical session. So we will see how it goes. If you have not finished in week 11, we will start presentation in week 12. Okay, so we'll see how it goes, or maybe, or even maybe week 13. Okay, because here stated um, until week 13. Week 11, 12, 13 is your assignment presentation. Okay, we will see how it goes. If you like have difficulty in completing the assignment, maybe we will drag until week 13. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I will inform again. So week 14. Oh, sorry, we have 11 chapters, 11 topic. So we will follow this course plan. Yeah, so this one you can access through your intranet. This one also available in Google Classroom as well. All right. So far so good. Any
Okay.
question? Okay.
Okay.
Betul-betul macam game. I forgot to record though. Cepat. Kamu lah ni. Macam main game. So I start
Uh,
recording. Start recording now, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to record though.
Miss,
Yes, Noel.
Miss from Sabah.
Hmm?
Miss from Sabah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why?
I thought Miss from KL.
No lah. Saya orang Tambunan. I'm from Tambunan, Dusun. Why you think so, Noel? Saya cakap Semenanjung.
Because no, I mean, I terkejut Miss say Sabahan accent.
Astaga. I'm from Tambunan. Okay. That's new. All right, so the contact hours for this course are, as you already know, this is long semester. We have lecture now every Wednesday, 2:30 and 4:30. In fact, this class all in the afternoon session. Okay, so practical, I'll see you tomorrow for practical, 1 hour only, 3 to 4 p.m. And then tutorial will be on Friday, also 3 to 4 p.m. So can I check with you your schedule? Is this are these all your last class for the day?
You mean today?
Every day?
Oh,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all final
yes,
class.
for me, yeah, correct.
Okay. Why you all didn't take same course ka?
I got one subject didn't take.
Oh, oh, I see. Okay. Alright, so maybe kalau terlajak then no issue lah kan, but I will try my best not to kasih lebih 4 p.m. lah. Okay? Sure, for sure it will not lah exceed 4 p.m. Maybe for tutorial, yes, because we need to do discussion. Okay, so I'll just brief you some on practical. So practical, you will be doing assignment. This is the time where you can ask me about assignment. You can discuss about assignment. Maybe you need consultation or what. So we do it during practical session. So we will still have Google Meet session. And then for tutorial, I will assign names to questions. All right. So we will be using Google Docs. I think you already experienced this with other lecturer previously. So we will be collaborating in one Google Docs, and you will give your answer according to the question that I assigned to you, and then we will do discussion after you answer the question. Okay. So that is how we will do the practical and tutorial. All right, so for assessments, so for this course, it's 50-50. So your coursework will be 50% and your final exam will be 50%. So the assignment carries 70%. It's a bit more. You That's why your practical session you will need to do your assignment. Okay, so 70% for assignment and then 30% for your midterm test. So for final exam, it's actually 100% mark. It will later converted to 50%. So 50 plus 50, 100% for the whole coursework mark. As the course marks. Course, yeah, this course punya full mark is 100. Okay, so this one is, I think it's clear. So you need to score in this assignment. Okay, because this is a very small size, class size. It should be no problem for you to apa ni, to score for this assignment. Should be very easy for you all. I will guide you through. Don't worry. Okay, so expectation, blah blah blah. It's the same like this morning. Be on time. Be participative. Don't miss any class. If you have problem, let me know. Then you can apply leave on the intranet. Okay, and then make good. Also the same thing. So any other question regarding this course? Do you have any question?
No question.
No question.
Calvin, are you there? Good question.
Oh, Miss, I got question.
Yes, Farah.
Do we need to like do something like designing stuff or don't have?
Okay. You're asking about assignment, is it?
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay, so actually tomorrow I will explain more about assignment, but I will give you just a glance of it. Yes, you will need to design something, but it's only the interface only the interface. You don't have to do any programming behind it. So if you want to do programming, you can do it, but there will be no mark for programming. You can use any software as long as you can show the interface, because for this course we are focusing on interaction, human computer interaction. So we want you this course, it wants you to like portray or show that you understand how interface should look like. Okay, so you will need to like find one prototype. You need to create a prototype actually. You need to like develop, I would say not develop, I would say design a system. Okay, and then you find one persona, like one person who's using the system, and then from there you will do the discussion on how the system will be used by the user. Okay, ada sedikit-sedikit idea lah kan. Okay, Kak Vera.
Ah, yes. Because my diploma year also have a HCI.
Oh,
So
is it?
yeah, so I was just asking lah if got design only or programming.
Okay. Is it the same thing, like this, exactly the same human computer interaction?
Ah, yeah. It is the same name lah, HCI.
You did not check if you can transfer credit card for this course.
Already check, but they say too late already.
Too late.
Yeah,
Too late means you already registered, so you cannot unregister or what?
I late for registration. So when I asked for transfer, credit transfer, but they say cannot already.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because
That's
the
weird.
registration was on May, but I
Mm-hmm.
register on June.
Okay. Okay. That's odd. Okay, but maybe that's the admission parts lah. Maybe they have their reasons lah why. So if it's the exactly the same, I think the code would not be the same, right? It's not the same, right? The code, it's
Yes,
not
the code
different.
is not the same lah.
I think the content is the same. I can tell you, this content is the same. How about Noel and Calvin? Did you took this subject previously?
No.
No. Okay. Calvin also, I believe no. Yeah. So maybe it's maybe Farah can apa nih share your experience lah later on lah, if like I have question
If
like
if I can remember lah, because it was years ago.
when was that, if you remember, 2019?
Um, my HI was on 2014.
That was long ago.
Yeah, so I don't know lah. I need to,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Maybe why you cannot do the transfer credit because of that time gap, also because there's a lot of apa nih, updates already. So the previous course outline is not the same with the now already. They cannot map it. So they cannot map it. So that's why you cannot transfer credit. I think that's the case also
yeah.
lah.
I also think that's the case lah, because
Yeah.
a long time already.
Yeah, because IT kan you need to follow the updates also. If you transfer credit, afraid kan later on you cannot graduate, you cannot get your degree because it's not valid. They can like halt your graduation. if they check lah. Well, so just in case we want to like we don't want that to happen, right? So maybe that's why we need to retake lah. So I hope I answer your question. There's no programming in this subject. You just need to design the interface only. Interface only. Yeah. So that's why I said it's quite easy for you all, I suppose. So do you have in mind what software you want to use?
I'm not sure, but my HCI previous HCI I use Visual Basic, so
Oh, okay.
I don't know about now lah.
Okay. But nowadays can I think PowerPoint pun good enough already to design interface actually. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, PowerPoint has a very good. If you are using the latest one, 365, you can actually use that for design interface because this one only interface, right? You just like need to imagine like how you use the system and then you click here, go away, click here, go away. Just only the figures, only like the pictures, only the images. So I think PowerPoint can do that, but up to you. We don't have any like compulsory software to use as long as you can produce the output. Yeah, so you can think of that later on. So I'll give you 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes lah. 5 minutes break before we continue to our first chapter. Can we do that?
oh,
Uh,
okay.
Okay, so I'll see you again in 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay, shall we start?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So this is Introduction to Human Computer Interaction, HCI Chapter 1. So before we proceed more detail into about uh, what influence this HCI, we need to know what is HCI, okay, human computer interaction. So in the past, it is known as man machine interaction, also known as MMI. Okay, so what is this HCI? It is the study of people and computing, right? And the way they influence each other means how people use computer and how computer is being used by people. All right, so that's why it is called human and computer interaction. So how these two interact, how computer interact with human, how human interact with computer. Okay, it's the other way around. So the main concept in HCI, the main thing that we need to focus on when we talk about HCI is the usability, right? So usability is very important in HCI. It is concerned with making the system safe, yes, safe, as well as easy to learn, okay, easy to learn, and most importantly is easy to use. Okay, so a good system or a good computer program should be safe to use, should be easy to learn to use it, and it should be easy to use. So that's why this term here, usability, we will use this term throughout our study for this course, for this semester. So before we proceed more detail, so let's look at how HCI has um, influenced the technology on how why this HCI was implemented. Okay, so during the World War II, okay, so this is how the cockpit looked like. Okay, so these are the cockpit of World War II. So during that time, there is a data that showed that during one of the 22 months period of the war, the Air Force, they have reported an astounding crashes with 457 crashes, okay, during the World War II. 457 crash of the plane. Okay, so researcher has been looking into the issue. So instead of a pilot error, they call it pilot error at the time. So they actually reported that it was a designer error, okay, which they actually referring to the design of the cockpit. That is the reason why they have the crashes. Yeah, so the reason why all those pilots were crashing because when they were easing into a landing, okay, so they actually confused with the landing gear, they and also the flaps, okay, the flaps and also the landing gear. It look exactly the same. It look exactly the same. I'm not sure which one it is in this photo, but it look exactly the same. So they actually mistakenly are pulling the wing flaps during landing. This is during landing. So they were simply reaching for the landing gear, but they are actually pulling the wing flaps. So this has slowed their descent and driving their planes into the ground with the landing gear still tucked in. So you can only imagine what happened. So you should be landing, but you're not using the correct gear to do it. Yeah, so this event has triggered the idea of creating a machine that can actually reduce this kind of crashes. So from this event, further years after this event, researcher has been looking into the issue. So they have thinking of how can how can we improve in order to keep keep the what we call it, the system or the people safe and how they can reduce health as a hazard, like stated here. So these are the goals of HCI. So it is to increase individual and organizational productivity. So basically, we want to improve how we work with computer and to improve safety. Okay, referring to the event just now, the World War II, we want to improve safety using computer, and we want to reduce health hazards as well. Other than that, we want to reduce costs that associated with the development of user interfaces. So these all these goals, you will also need to put this into consideration when you want to design your assignment later on. So next, let's look at some early history of computer. So previously, at the beginning of computer invention, um, in the 50s or 60s, the computing resources were very expensive, because it's not everyone can have it. Okay, the time it is called the mainframe, and it is only operated by highly trained professionals. Okay, so highly trained professionals. So we have some pictures here. So this is how computer looked like back then. Okay, so all these people are trained people. So only those who are trained can use the system. It's complicated to operate and it's very expensive, and it was designed not to fit with human interaction. It just was invented like we have a computer. So this computer, it will allow you to do this and that, but it did not design to fit with human interaction. Like, do I need to like stand up all the time to operate this computer? Do I need to sit down all the time to operate this computer, or do I sit down all the time to operate this computer? So if you look back at the goals just now. So we want to achieve this in human computer interaction. So if you sit down too long in front of a computer, what will happen, and so on. So for your assignment later on, you will need to also look into these goals so that you will produce a good system that will actually achieve the goals of HCI. So after this mainframe, we have during 70s, uh, computer was upgraded to personal computer (PC), and also command line interface. So during this time, you can only type you can only communicate or interact with the computer using command line interface. Okay, so this is how it look like. The computer is like this, very small, and you have your keyboard here. So in the 80s, yeah, 80s. So this was the time where GUI, graphical user interface, was invented. It was produced by Xerox Star. So this is the first commercial attempt at a mouse-based GUI. So this is the mouse. So this was the first time we have a mouse for a computer. So I have posted a video about this computer in your Google Classroom. You can refer to the additional materials. You will find the video link there. So this is GUI, graphical user interface by Xerox. And then later at 1984, so the Macintosh or Apple, they took the idea of creating GUI from Xerox, and they actually improvised it, and then they invented the first Macintosh computer. Okay, you can see this is the previous logo of Apple. So this is the first Macintosh plus GUI computer during that time. So they have this view, no color yet. So this one also, this one I think is paint software, and this is the overview of the desktop view of the Macintosh PC. So fast forward on again, still 80s. So we have during 80s, Microsoft then came in. They produced or they invented Windows 1.0 and 2.0. So this is by Microsoft Windows. It's MS-DOS Executive version 1. So this one is by Microsoft Corporation. So as you can see, Microsoft has added colors onto the GUI. Okay, here. So these are the first generation of Windows. And then fast forward to 2000. So as years goes by, computing resources become very cheap, and computer resources are being operated by non-computer experts. So what does this mean here? So you don't have to have like certification, you don't have to have training to use the computer. So that means the GUI has helped user to operate the computer without any training or without any specialty in handling computers. So nowadays, okay, in present or in the future, we are having ubiquitous computing that is concerned with the design, development, and deployment of pervasive computing technologies. For example, IoT. In your home, you can have a smart home, like you can have a CCTV that you can control through your mobile phone. You can have controllable vacuum, right? And then what else? What else you can have in a smart home? TV, smart TV, right? And many other things. You might have seen it in movies, like all those technologies. Those are already available for use. So now let's look at the first one. The first thing for HCI, let's look at what is user interface. Okay, what is user interface, also known as UI. Okay, so graphical user interface is the same. Okay, but we are talking about UI here. So what is UI? It is a part of the product, the system or the software that the user can see, the user can hear through the speaker, and also can touch if it's touch screen. Okay, so for example, like in standard PC, the UI may consist of screen, where what we can see, the keyboard, what you can touch, also the mouse, what you can click, what you can touch, also the speaker, okay, what you can hear. In other systems, user interface also can consist of microphone, where you input your voice into the system. You can also have buttons, maybe on off or cancel on printer or on remote controller, etc. You can also have lights, like on your modem. You want to know if there's a connection, you can check the lights. Also ATM, air conditioner, you want to see what's the current temperature and so on. You can also have hand tracking glove, which detects user fingers movement, or also eye tracker. Okay, so let's look at example here. So this is hand tracking glove. So this one is using VR, and we can also have eye tracker. So this is an example of eye tracker. So what is the purpose of eye tracker? So this is an eye tracker is installed under this PC. So what happens is that this eye tracker will emit infrared to eyes, and it will be recording the user's gaze to the website, right? So that the company, or maybe the company that uh, using this website, they know which part this person or this user is looking at, so that they know what is this person interested in their website. Okay, so this is the report that you can see from the eye tracker. So it actually emits infrared to the eyes. Okay, so human. Okay, so human will interact with the computer, right? So the user, also human, us, um, is the one whom computer system are designed to assist. So means computer is designed to be used by human. So we need to know the user or the human capabilities, also it's their limitation. Okay, so um, humans are very limited in capacity to process information, so depending on any individual, so you need to know this has very important implication for design. Okay, so for example, like we can only retain a limited amount of information in our memory. We call it working memory in our brain. So when we try to perform several tasks at the same time, performance will deteriorate. Okay, so similar when you're using computer, um, if you are dealing with more than one app or more than one software, you will need to have a good user interface in order for you to catch, or in order for the human or the user feel good when they're using the system or the app that they are using. So we will look into this human implication in later chapter. Okay, so interaction. So let's look at interaction. So some keywords here is user interface, where we discussed previously, usability and user experience. We will discuss user experience after this. So let's look at this view here. So we have human, right? We have human here. So human, we have human information processing, which is the brain, and then language, communication, and interaction, the one that you will do to interact with the computer. And then you will also look at ergonomics, okay, ergonomics of the human. So at computer here, so the computer here, you will look at input and output devices. So uh, the user will use their fingers to interact with the input and output devices that you have in the computer system. And you can also have dialog technique, copy paste, dialog genre, computer graphics, and also dialog architecture. Okay, so this is just an overview on how human will interact with computer, what are the things they can interact with. So let's now look at more on usability. Okay, so this is the most important concept in HCI, as I mentioned earlier on. So the definition here, according to ISO 9241. So what is usability? So usability focuses on how easily people will finish a particular task. Okay, so according to this definition here, it refers to the effectiveness, right? Efficiency, and also satisfactions with which specified user achieve specified goals in particular environment. So we will be looking at this standard effectiveness, efficiency, and also satisfactions. So for this course, we will focus on these three standard. Okay, your system or your app or the software that we are developing should be effective, it should be efficient, and it provides satisfactions to the user. So let's look at one example here. So this example shows you a picture of several tools that you can use to chop down a tree. Okay, so the goal is to chop down a tree. So if you can see here, all of these are useful, right? It can be used. So A can be used, B can be used, and C can be used. So but not all are usable, right? So you can use A as well, but it will take you a long time, right? So the most effective one, which one you think? Which one will be more effective? You can type in the chat. Which tool will be more effective to chop down a tree? Yes, C. Calvin, what do you think? Yes. Not really. Maybe. What do you think, Calvin? which one is the most usable, the most usable one. Okay, that's good. That's a good point actually. I will yes, B, because you don't know how to use C, right? So Noel and Pharaoh choose C. Yeah, because like you just like chop it like finish, right? But of course you will need training to use this, right? You like Kelvin say, you don't know how to use C, so will be B, right? So it goes back to the user, goes back to the user. So later on when you do the assignment kan, when you want to pick a persona, like who will use your system, so you will need to understand their limitation. You will need to understand their background. Okay, maybe the user is blind, maybe, and like for this case, Calvin don't know how to use C, that's why he picks B. Fair enough. Fair enough. Is it fair? Yeah. Okay, so I hope you get the idea on how should we like how we want to achieve the goal. It's the same with how when we want to like design interface, right? So you need to have a goal, right? You need to have a goal, but of course you still need to look at the surrounding. You need to look at the user. Will they be able to use it? Like you just said, like also you see like it's very easy one, because you see like it's this is the one like very fast one, be like take time to like like that kan macam forever can just chop down the tree. Okay, so I hope you get the idea about usability. So let's now look at next one. Okay, so what are the benefits of systems or software with good usability? So it will bring benefits to the user as well as to the developer. Okay, so if it's good usability for the user, it will increase productivity. Like the example just now, if you know how to use C, you just use it and it will be done lesser time, right? And then reduce learning time. It can also reduce error and also reduce stress. So for the developer, if you have a good usability system, it will minimize the cost of customer support, because you don't have like, if you already provide a good system, there will be no cost of customer support. You don't have to provide any support. And then also reduce the time needed for training, and you will have a good reputation as well. So now let's look at effectiveness. Okay, the other goal in HCI, the effectiveness. So effectiveness is the completeness and accuracy. If completeness and accuracy, which user achieves specified goals. Okay, so for your assignment, you will need to have a specified goals in order for you to proceed with your design. So if effectiveness is a general goal, and it refers on how good a product is at doing what it is supposed to do. So it is determined by looking at whether the user goals were met successfully or whether the works are correct. And it also look at the measurement of how well the system will perform, right? So does it give you the desired, does your desired output really provide you with the actual output, right? So question can be asked like, can user use the system to do the work they need to do? So is the product capable of allowing people to learn? Is the product or the system allow people to carry out their work efficiently? So can user access the information that they need? Or maybe in other case, like can you use the system to buy the goods that you want? Okay. So depending on the nature of your goal, the nature of your system, you will need to make it effective so that uh, the user using it can achieve what they want to achieve, right? So always refer back to your goals. So now let's look at efficiency. So efficiency here is referring to the resources that is used in relation to the result achieved. Okay, so typical resource include time, human effort, cost, and also the materials. So usually it refers to the way product supports user in carrying out their task. So the primary concern of efficiency is that how quickly a task can be completed, how efficient it will be if you're using this system. So the difference with effectiveness is that for effectiveness we want to see how well the work is done, right? How well is the work done? Does the goal specified achieved or not? So for efficiency, it concerned with how quick the task can be completed. So a question can be asked like, can experienced user be productive using the system? Or once the user learn the design, how quickly can they perform tasks? So once users have learned how to use a product to carry out the task, can they sustain a high level of productivity in their daily life using the system? So efficiency always refers back to how quick a task can be completed according to the resources according to the resources, which includes time, human effort, cost, and also material. So we have looked at effectiveness, efficiency. Now let's look at satisfaction. So satisfaction is referring to the user's physical, cognitive, and emotional responses. Okay, so we'll look more into this in in a later chapter. So this one will actually this one is referring on the comfort and acceptability of the work system to the user and to the other people by affected who are the people that affected by its use. How pleasant is it to use the design? So means this one is more to like, are you satisfied with the system? Are you satisfied with the feedback that you get from the system and so on? So it always refers back to the of the user response of the user from the result of use of a system or a product or an app. So that's for the three items, okay, three things, three standard, okay, three, 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 three terms or three key terms that we'll be focusing on and the usability of our HCI. Okay, so let's go to the next one. You want break? 5 minutes break, then we continue. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then game mo. Okay, can we continue? Are you there? Okay, right. So we continue with the next key term that we have for HCI. HCI. Hold on, okay. So this is UX. Okay, so we have HCI, we have UI, we have GUI. Now we have UX. Okay, so what is UX? So the exact definition as outlined by the International Organization for Standardization, basically this one, it is a person's perceptions and responses resulting from the use and or anticipated use of a product, a system, or service. Okay, so what are the person's perception after they use the product, the system, or the service? So is it enjoyable? Is it fun? Is it entertaining? Is it helpful? Is it motivating? And so on. Okay, so there are so a lot of perception, a lot of responses. So let's now look at one example here. So this one, this tomato ketchup by hands. So we have the first one. This is UI. Okay, so this is UI. It's the basic design. You can touch it, you can open it, you can just use it. So then they later um, they later improve the design, so that they improve the design means they want to they refer back to user experience, which is the UX, so that user can have a better feel in controlling the ketchup, right? So let's now look at the usability here. So the usability, um, even though this one gives you a better feel, maybe if you uh, maybe if you prefer to use this one, which actually like they want to have a good, they want the user to have a good experience when using their product. But in terms of usability, the leakage can happen because it cannot this kind of bottle, if you don't store it properly, you can have this kind of problem, right? So this is just to illustrate to you how UI, UX, and usability can can what do you call it, can what to- affect your the user experience. How can the product or the service can affect user experience when they're using the product? All right, I hope you can get the idea. Now let's look at this one here. So as you can see here, this is a UI design, okay, user interface design, only the user interface design, and we have the usability design. So this one is just to provide you with UI design, just to give you the user interface so that you can interact with it, and that's it. So the function is just that it works, like you just submit, that's it. So the experience ends there. Okay, so let's now look at the usability design. So let's say, for example, like the user, they don't want to submit, right? They don't want to submit, like they I don't want to submit, I don't have any other option on this. So in usability design, you can put in or you can add on cancel button. Okay, can you can give action button, cancel button, so that the user will have the design will have more usability, right? So for this kind of design, you can only like give, there's no choice, you just like you just want to submit, that's it, it works, that's it, just submit and submit. So for usability, maybe you can cancel, or maybe you can go back if you want to put back button, and so on. So now let's look at how this differ with user experience design, right? So now we are at UX. So this one, when you have this kind of system, like you have this kind of um, design, so you are referring to the user experience design. So yes, complete my order, that is much better when you just use submit button, right? So let's assume that you want to submit order for this particular case. So when you have this kind of design, it's much better. It works well and makes you feel like, wow, this is a very good system. You want to like use it more. So maybe you want to cancel, you didn't put just cancel, like that's it. So maybe you just put maybe more polite, you can put in no thanks, right? So you can also add on more like more neat message on the design. Your order will arrive earlier than promised, something like that. So you can include this user experience elements into your design later on for your assignment. Okay, so it includes emotion. When you're using a user experience design, you include emotion of your user so that you can engage user, you can engage the user with feedback, right? So now let's look at a real life. This is a real life app, okay, Gojek. So this is e-hailing service motorcycle from Indonesia. So the previous design, so this was the previous design of their system. Okay, so this is like Grab, right? Like Grab, what else we have? Maxim, all those e-hailing service. So here we have Grab in Indonesia. They have Gojek. So this one like order cancelled. Sorry, your order has been cancelled by the driver. So that's it. Like, okay, so what should I do next? Like, how would you feel like you already ordered the service, but suddenly like you're already ready outside with training and with your umbrella, suddenly you look at your phone and you get this kind of message: order cancelled, sorry, your order has been cancelled by the driver. And that's it, you just press okay, and then what happened next? Okay, so this is an example of UI. They just give you like interaction, only interaction with the system. So let's see when it was improved later. So after redesign, Gojek tries to make user feels much better. So this is what the redesign or the redesign experience look like, redesign system look like. So when the driver cancel the order, they have like they give a more calming message, I assume. So driver has cancelled your order. So you give another option to the user, right? So you want the user to be engaged to your system. So let's move on and find another one, shall we? So you can retry order and the system will help you to find another driver that is available. Okay. So another way to engage your user, another way to engage your user is that maybe you want to translate, you want to give language settings. You allow the user to use their native language, like this one is for Indonesian. So you can let the user choose if they want to use English or they want to use their own language. So when you read, like for here, if you want to use Malay, so if you are more comfortable with Malay, it will be very good for the user so that they can keep using your system. Yeah, so it's basically the same thing here, just translated to Indonesian. So like order cancelled like this, there's no engagement, right? So maybe in the future the users, Allah, selalu cancel, I don't want to use it anymore lah. So if you have this kind of feedback to the user, it will actually promote more engagement from user to your app or to your system. So this is also user experience. So Gojek also work on user experience whereby they use this kind of emoticon in their what we call it, in their system, so they can also change the figure, the image, like just to attract the user. Okay, so this one I think it's trending, it's a trend in Indonesia, I assume. So you can use any type of engagement that will give a good user experience when the user is using your system. So let's look at another example here. So let's look at these two things here. So usability with user experience. So these two, it has the same function, right? So if I label this as A and B, which one will you pick? A and B. This one is A. This is dinosaur. It's a ladle. This is a normal ladle. B. Which one will you pick?
Um, I don't know. I use on the right one. Yeah, metal.
Or metal? All right. So that is your preferences, right? So as usual, you always go back to your user, see what they prefer, right? So that's why when you're designing your assignment later on, you really need to understand your user, right? So for me, like I like emotion. Like I see this one can this little like more fun to see, more fun to use. Maybe because sometimes like female and male also have different preferences, right? So for me, I prefer this one, right? So it always go back to the usability as well as the user experience. So if you find this metal is more easy to use, like maybe all of you like you prefer to use metal, then you go for this one. So you always go back to which one makes you feel more comfortable and which one will give you the which one will actually achieve your goal. Both will achieve your goal, right? Like to get a soup from your pot, it's the same, but of course when you go back to the user experience, mm, you need to understand the persona of your user, so you will give um, attention to what they prefer. Okay, so remember when you're doing your assignment, don't use your own emotion, right? So you always focus on the persona or the person or the user that will be using your system. Of course we can just assume, so you can assume using your own preferences, that's okay, but you can justify later on in your report. Okay, so that this is just an example of usability with user experience. Another one, so this one like look fun, right? Like to separate white egg from the yolk. So which one would you prefer? Top or bottom? Top is like more easy to get can. It's maybe the bottom one would be don't know where to get this like very fancy one. Which one would you prefer? And for what you want to do this, right? Okay, so this one is just to show you like um things around you. It always go back to the experience. Like maybe this one is much. You don't care, like you don't care like how it look like, as long as you can separate the yolk from the white egg, for example. This is just an example. So for me, I prefer this one because it look fancy. Maybe because of my female preferences, I'm not sure. um, so as I say earlier on, it always go back to the preferences or go back to the persona of your user. Okay. So now let's look at what happens if we have a poor UI design. Okay, poor user interface design. So it will have, of course, it will have a usability problem, right? So it is sometimes difficult to see or notice the effects of good design, right? So, but there are many example of the effects of poor UI design. So the effects, it can be like cause user to make more error. Okay, so let's say for example, like you are doing online banking, right? So let's say the placement of the button on the system. So you usually for cancel button, it's always at the right side, right? But you have cancel at the right side, and you have submit at the left side. That's how it always be. So when you use when you design an interface, so usually because most of us is our dominant hand is right, so we always like we want to cancel, you just click at the right side without even looking at it, right? So you can make errors, things like that can make errors like the placement of the button, it can actually, if it's poor, like it it's supposed not to be there but it's there, so you click on it and you make error. That can happen. So when user make errors, like you submit wrong picture to wrong WhatsApp group, right? So it can cause unnecessary anxiety and inconvenience. Okay, so previously when um, WhatsApp was like upgrading their UI. If you noticed that previously, like you can easily send message or picture to wrong group. Okay, so previously, if you remember, previously when you send, like you send picture or file to group, there will be no group name at the bottom. Now they have. Previously don't have. So usually people will send wrong message to the wrong group. Okay, if I know, I'm not sure if you have experienced previously, but I always experienced it previously with the WhatsApp design previously. Have you experienced sending wrong message to other group that you don't intend to send? Udana, got kan? I think everyone experienced lah. Like wah so malu or previously previously also cannot delete kan, previously also cannot delete, and then sometimes also you just send kan different wrong group already, after I think it's after 7 minutes, then you cannot delete anymore. So it makes you it gives you as unnecessary anxiety and inconvenience. So that is you can, it can be because of the poor design. So now if you notice, like next time if you like using systems, right, because you already learn about HCI, so you try to figure out how usable or how good is the UI design. Is it very easy to use, it will not cause error, or how is your experience using it. Okay, and it can also decrease user productivity, like say for example like system yang too many buttons, like you don't know which one to click, and you, or maybe like it's a simple task but the system make it complicated, for example, right? And then it makes the product difficult to use and learn. So this one, usually with free stuff like free softwares, free app that you have in Android, usually. So if you have a free app, can usually they are difficult to use and difficult to learn, because they just invented, usually the developer that give free stuffs or free apps, they just want to produce the app and get revenue from ads actually. Okay, so their main goal is not for user experience, the main goal is not for the user to have a good experience with the system, but they just want to have a revenue from the ads that is attached to to their product. All right, so that's why if you notice, like free services or free stuff like Facebook, like Canva, what else, like okay, you can also use Canva for your designing. Do you know Canva? So it always depends to how, no. Okay, so you can try to look at it later on. Yeah, Kelvin, it's designing. It's free, but you can register for full version also. Try to look at it, lah, Farah. Maybe you can use it for to design your system. Okay, and then cause product to be perceived to have low quality and value. Okay, so this one is the one I mentioned just now. Like they just want to have the app up, but they don't look at the usability. Then they don't look at the UI. They don't look at the UX of the system. Okay, so these are the effect of poor design and will give a usability problem to the user. And then how to design a good UI with good usability. Okay, so throughout this course, it will teach you how to design, and then how to construct, and then how to test your user interface. Right, so throughout this course you will learn all about this. So every certain period of time you will need, for your assignment actually you will need to submit, I think, 3 or 4 parts of your assignment. So after you finish design, you will submit the design report. After you finish the construction, you will submit the construction report, and so on. So the goal is to provide you with the needed knowledge to design a good UI for your product or the system or software. So usually people will want to use a system or application that are easy to use. So usually those product that is easy to use, it have a high level of usability, means people will always use it for their task. So those with low level of usability, like you, it cannot be used at all, it will give you nightmare. So if you want to try to look at low level of usability, you can look at different type of free apps that you have. If you're using Android, you can try free apps on in Android. You can look at, maybe you can study on the UI, you can look at the user experience and so on. Okay, so now let's look at the discipline in contributing to HCI. So what are the disciplines that is contributing to HCI? So the discipline here, we have several. Okay, so several, we have more than what is explained here, but we will look at some. So the first thing is the computer science, right? So you have to have, you need to know about computer science. You need to have computer science in order for you to have a good HCI. So the study of construction of hardware and software. Okay, so you should know about how hardware is constructed, how software is being developed. Okay, and then also provide with the knowledge about the capability and limitations of the technology. So some technology will not apply to some system. So maybe you, when you're designing your system, you, let's say you want to apply the latest design, like for example AR, uh, artificial intelligence. You want to apply all those. You need to look at the your goal, and you need to look at the user as well. If, are they compatible to use the technology together with the computer. And then we have cognitive psychology. So this is a study of how info is processed, how information is processed, and how it is represented in the brain. And it also provide knowledge about capabilities and limitations of the users. So you might want to think of, for example, like system library, right? So the library, the persona or the user. Let's take an example of TAUC environment. So you are the student of TAUC, right? So student TAUC. Okay, what semester are you, male or female? And then what semester are you in? How frequent do you use the library, right? So you can design a system whereby the student want to like borrow books, for example, or you want to register to become a librarian, for example. So you need to look at the limitation or the capability of the user. So the capability would be like, are they capable to um, handle the computer system. So maybe the limitation will be if they are in semester one, maybe they don't have the capability to handle the system, for example. Okay, and then we will also look at ergonomics or human factors. So this is the study of human beings in relationship to their working environment. So this will provide you knowledge about how to design tools that suit the capacities and capabilities of the users, and it will also guide you through on how to design the working environment to suit the users rather than the other way around. Okay, so we want to have a good usability, right? So we want to look at the human factors as well. Are they comfortable using the system? Is the system is giving them the chance to achieve their goals in their job? Okay, And then the last one would be social and organizational psychology. So the and others, there are so many other disciplines that is related to HCI design. So the ideal designer of interactive system should have expertise in variety of disciplines. So meaning to say, if you are a designer, you need to know, you need to have the knowledge of various discipline. Okay, so this one is an example of ergonomics of human factors. So this one is the design of maybe mobile phone. So how comfortable it is when you have this screen, like when usually Apple iOS products, they all are very concerned about user experience. So they design their phone to be like to be easy to use, easy to handle, easy to touch. Can be used with one hand. Android also the same now. Okay, but some brands they some brands they focus on camera. Okay, some brands focus on the security like iOS, right? And some brand they focus on the screen size. So these all are referring back to the human factors, whereby maybe some user prefer it to be big, some user prefer it to be small, some user prefer it to be more secure, some user prefer it to be just like how they want it to be, right? So this one also, so if user just want to use only one finger, how about the user want to use only use both hand? Is it comfortable enough to use to just put it on the table and just use the touch screen and use your both hands to handle the system. Okay, so this one is also economic. So how do you how do you design the workplace environment in order for you to have a good HCI? So this one, how should the human sit down in front of computer? How should you put how the distance between the computer and the human, the posture, how they sit down. So is it like this? Is it like this? So many things like in economics and human factors you need to look into. Now let's look at another example. Okay, now so let's look at this one, right? So this is a vending machine. Okay, so we have some features here that includes HCI. So we have a this would be the LCD panel computer, LCD panel that shows you what are the products that is available here. So this one is it could be referring to the discipline of computer science. It can be cognitive as well. It can be human factor as well. So let's look at um, human factors. Okay, so I'm short. So if the LCD panel is too high up, right, I will not be able to see it, right? So the placement of this panel, should it be here or should it be a bit bottom, a bit at the lower part of this vending machine, right? And then B, this B here, the button. So is the button easy to press, right? So it's referring to human factor. So psychology will be like if it's hard to press, so it will actually affect your mood. Like you cannot press on it. I think all vending machine have problem with their buttons, right? Like when they already like buy something, it doesn't come out. Okay, so this kind of thing you need to really think of when you want to design your system, your because this is a human interaction with computer, right? So you need to take into consideration several discipline that you have when you design your stuff. So if you have like C is where we take the thing, right, that you buy. So is it low enough? If like people like have back problem, can they like just go down and take the stuff that they buy? So all those things we need to take into consideration. So the disciplines that we discussed earlier on, it's not limited to that. So there are many other disciplines that is contributing to interactive system design. Okay, so these are some examples. So you look at people, you look at technology, you look at activities and contacts, and also design. So this all will contribute in designing a good interactive system design. Okay, so this person here is Alan Dix. He's an expert in human-computer interaction. So he says that it is not possible to design effective interactive systems from one discipline in isolation. That means we need to um, combine many disciplines in order for you to have an effective interactive systems. So input it's needed from other discipline because we need to understand the computer system. You need to know the capability of the computer system. You need to also know the user, what's the persona of the user, what is the characteristic, what are the tasks that the user is performing on the computer system, and where is the environment where the task is being performed. So we need to look at this when we want to achieve a good or effective interactive system. Okay, next we have the software development. Have you all learned about waterfall design? This is waterfall design. Waterfall design, SDLC, System Development Life Cycle. Yeah, so, got already kan. So it's so for HCI, it's similar to this waterfall. Yeah. So for this for the development of your assignment, we will be using similar to waterfall. But for waterfall, because it's just go one way kan, one way it goes from analysis go to design, program, test, and operational. It goes down like a waterfall, like from up go to the bottom. So for HCI, we will be using this the development process. It's iterative, means uh, first thing first, you will do an analysis. You study the users. Okay, you study the user, who is the user of your system, and what are the tasks that need to be completed. What are the goals that the user want to achieve. All right, and then you will design prototype. Okay, and then you will program it. So when you are doing the design, you can do the usability test. So whenever you find, like maybe you find any errors, so you can always go back to the design and you redesign again, and then you test again, and so on until you get the good result or the desired output. Okay, so for you to make a good UI, good user interface, so you need to focus on user and their task. So be user centered. What does this mean here is that you focus on the user. Means you need to have one person who has like who has value in your system. Okay, for example, like you want to you are a student of TAUC, so you are the user. So like I mentioned earlier on, your agenda, your 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 what you call it, your preferences and so on. You need to know all of that. You need to do analysis on that. You study the user. Okay, and then you build a prototype. You build a prototype. Prototype is just like tester. Okay, then you test the prototype, you test the usability, and then you will iterate this process like berulang. You keep it iteration. It will be iterative, like uh, until you get a good design for your system. All right. So this. So now let's look at this how the waterfall differ from HCI framework. Okay. So this is um, the traditional way of the software development. So the essential difference between the waterfall approach and the HCI framework is that iteration, like that one I mentioned earlier on. So every time you do the usability test, so if you have problem, if like you find error, you will go back to the designing part, and you you do the iteration until you get a good design. Then you program it. Then you program your system. Okay. So there are more explanation here. So the waterfall approach, the development usually driven by functional processing requirements. So it deliver what the designer think, what the users want. So you are in software development, right? So when you develop a software, you always look at what are the requirement of your user. What do they require to, to be applied in the system or in the software? So for HCI framework, it always focus on users need, right? User needs. So it will analyze user tasks so that they can provide functionality to support the task. So in your analysis phase for your assignment, you will analyze the user needs. You find a user, you define a user, and then you analyze, you list out the tasks that will be um, done by the user. Okay, and then you will build the prototype, and then you carry out the testing and the evaluation with users, and back to the one that I mentioned earlier, you iterate until a good design is achieved, then you program it to be a real product. Okay. All right. So so for your assignment, you will actually be doing this pack analysis. Okay. So pack analysis, it's referring to people, activities, context, and also technology. So this is what we call pack analysis. Farah, do you remember anything about this pack analysis?
I think have.
Okay, so this is the analysis that you will need to do, and you will need to do report on this one. So before we begin any UI design, you need to identify and understand the situation, right? So you assess if any possible improvement can be made. So pack analysis, it will discuss on the people, which is the sociology, their culture, their biology, the language, the psychology, etc. And it can be also about the activity and context. Okay, so what are the interaction that can take place in the context of some community of practice? So, for example, like business community and its organizations information. So, let's say, for example, you are the worker in the company, so how do you access information in your company, for example? So you need to know what are the activity and the context of the activity. And then we have technologies. So you will also select, or you will also decide on what is the appropriate software and hardware to use, or for you to begin the UI design. So the first phase of your practical is to do this analysis. So if you have time to look at this, I would prefer you to do some readings on how to do this pack analysis, so that you have an idea on how to start doing your assignment. Tomorrow we'll discuss more on this, on what you need to do for your assignment. What do we have? Okay. So this is an example. So this is when you want to design a train ticket machine, right? Train ticket machine. So you will have the people. Okay. So you need to know the physical characteristic, like what's the age, what's the height, what's the weight. So this one is not necessarily, this person doesn't necessarily need to exist. You can just create a user, like a persona that you think is suitable for your system. So the psychology, like how good is the memory, what is the mental models, and then the usage. Uh, is this person expert, or is this person novice, or is this person noob? right? So you need to state all of this in your report. And then activities, right? So activities where, how long, okay, like here time, when do this user go to the ticket machine, how frequent does this person go to the ticket machine, and the complexity of the activities. So how do they get to the ticket machine, the safety critical, the information media dealing with the train ticket machine, right? And then the context will be like the physical environment, the social context will be like culture, like the language, what are the language that is available, that you want to include in your system. And then the technology, how do you want the train ticket machine to be? Like, do you want it to be touchscreen? Do you want to have mouse? Or do you want to use Face ID, for example? And then output, like if you want to have this, for example, you need to have monitor, of course, for the user to see which place to go, right? And then the speaker maybe like when something like when you pay the parking ticket, right? Someone is talking, so you need to have speaker. Okay, but it's not limited to this, but this is just an example of how you do pack analysis. Okay, so it's depending on what system you want to develop. So the first part of your practical, first part of your assignment, you will need to do this analysis of the people, the activities, the context, as well as the technology. So it can change. It can change throughout your development. So that's why we have iterative, right? Iteration. So you can always like update your report. Okay. Um, if I'm not mistaken, next week you need to provide your proposal already. Okay, but for that one, we will. From now, you can already try to think of what system you want to create, what system you want to develop. Okay. Oh, that's all. Okay, so tomorrow we'll meet for practical session. So I will discuss more on the assignment. I think. Any question for the lecture? So
Miss,
none.
on the fifth week,
Uh-huh.
does Miss conduct online or lecture in the campus?
Okay, so from what I've been told by the management, all courses will be conducted online for the first 4 weeks, and then week 5 we will start to conduct classes at the campus. That's what I've been told now. So you need to be ready to be at the campus in week 5. Are you all in KK?
I
Yeah. No, well, I didn't get you.
I
Penampang. Di mana Noel? Cannot hear you. Like you off your mic too fast ba? Noel. Kelvin, where are you at? Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Too fast ba you off your mic? This is not game. It's okay. Uh, so Noel, Keke. Si Kelvin, where are you at? Keke juga, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So that would be easy for you lah kan to be at the campus. Have you been to the new campus?
I
Far away kah from your place? Penampang lagi si Farah, Jam lagi kan Farah? Oh, registration. So the I tell you the road to go to the campus. Oh my God, Jam more because they are the construction. Yeah, a bit far. I'm in Luyang, so yeah, similar to Penampang lah kan. So I'm in Luyang. It's a bit far lah for you to like. You need to like plan your time lah to go to the campus. Why you ask ano, apa tuh, siapa itu tadi, Noel, why you ask? No, the other lecturer didn't mention about it.
Uh, because I assume Miss will conduct online.
Oh, okay. But of course, this class can be conducted online, but we all required to go back to campus. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe there will be changes. I will let you know like, if we conduct this online. Maybe lecture will be online. I'm not sure. It should be hybrid lah, from what I understand. Hybrid means maybe lecture online, but practical you will use your own laptop. So yeah. But for now, the arrangement is that week 5, all courses will be taught at the campus. Kan Vera mau bangun awal loh. 4 a.m. lah, janganlah 4 a.m. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Do you want me to show you the Google Classroom? You all already know already kan where the Google Classroom is?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Oh, no need to show, huh? So you can access the Google Drive as well from your Google Classroom. It's also the same with the one that I give in the group WhatsApp group description. Okay, so if you have no more question, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for your attendance. I really appreciate everyone's attendance and your participation in the lecture. I'll see you again tomorrow for practical session. So you can read before the class. You can read the assignment under the practical. No, it's under assignment folder. You can read the assignment for this course. All right. So any question before we dismiss?
No.
No.
Ano, bisa kami mag-mo joke gitu. Ano, basta off mic. Calvin, do you have any question?
No.
Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Welcome.